welcome to the Walking Digital Corridors podcast. I forget the intro that he does. I really should start listening to him a little bit more, shouldn't I? But as you can see, we are a man down. Jensen's having to fill in and bring that strong beer game because mine's non-existent. But today we're going to talk a little bit about voice notes. Now, we know that our buyers, our prospects are inundated with text-based outreach, whether it be via LinkedIn, via email, via WhatsApp, if you've got to that point. So we really do have to try and do what we can to stand out. So I thought it was quite pertinent. Now, before we do dive in, gents, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you very much. Hi, all gents. Nabbit, BDR at content.ai, and a pleasure to be here. Also acting as the bearded sales guy, as you can tell of his lovely background.
Indeed. I think it's worthwhile doing a customary shift of the set.
Yeah.
Alex likes doing, and if he is watching, I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get a clip around the ear, but hey ho. Cool. So yeah, voice notes is something that I think I was a little bit reluctant to do because I knew that it would require some time and effort. But since I've been sort of pleasantly surprised. I will go into a bit more detail and share some of the results that I've seen from some tests that I've been running for the last 7 weeks, 7 weeks. But I think, we're going to be playing a bit of good cop, bad cop, because, gents, I know you feel fairly strongly against. Where's that coming from?
Hey, look, I mean, yeah. Last week and kind of previously, I thought really kind of what's the point if your message isn't getting across, right? Why would I now kind of start speaking to them, right, directly? Because that's what you're doing on a voice note, of course. But not just that. It's kind of, I thought, well, it's not something you can do on your laptop. It's also something you've got to do on your phone. And then you've got to, like, that takes a bit of time as well. And actually, does that extra time being spent kind of utilizing voice notes, does that actually pay off? Or is there benefit to it? Or do people just see it as, oh, he's trying to contact me again, right? Because I've also tried to get a bit of feedback from some people, actually, kind of internally and other people that I'm speaking to see how they would react with voice notes. And actually, some people say, "Hey, look, actually, it's quite useful." And one person said to me, "Hey, well, are you in a group chat with your friends?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, do you communicate via just text, or do you voice note? Do you send videos as well?" And I was like, "Actually, yeah, that's quite a good point. Now that you talk about it, there is so many different avenues, right? But we just think we have to stick to text when we're in sales because that's kind of the norm. When actually that creativity, when that starts to shine through, and hopefully I'm hoping you can prove me wrong with your test results, and say actually it's improved by this much, and then I'll kind of jump on that bandwagon and yeah, start using voice notes.
Yeah, indeed. It's an interesting one. So my background, my first experience of sales, as you know, was in a telesales role. So I started in B2C telesales, then moved across to B2C. And I think, I can't remember the exact percentages, but it's something like, only 10% of what you actually say conveys the message. Then it's your tonality and then body language. And, I remember sitting in the call center in Bletchley thinking, oh, wow. But it's true. And I think so much can be misconstrued via, someone reading text. And what you're able to do via voice note is really bring your personality through. It's a lot more personal, and we know that irregardless of which generation you belong to, we all prefer a personal communication style. And that's some research that I pulled together for the webinar that I just ran with the ISP. So it's an interesting one. Curious, you mentioned that you do use voice notes in WhatsApp, and WhatsApp stated that last year there was 7 billion voice notes sent every day.
Wow.
Which is incredible. So where was the reluctance to sending them in the B2B sense? And we spoke last week about you having a lovely voice. So get it across to people. No?
Yeah, no, look, exactly that, right? So I have kind of, not secretly, but I have kind of been testing them kind of this week, just to see actually kind of that good old saying of don't mock it before you try it, right? So I really kind of can't speak badly or say that actually it doesn't work, because I haven't really kind of thrown myself at it. So kind of what you're doing, I'm going to be testing them out to actually see, kind of also playing with that tone, playing with how I kind of actually convey that message. Because also the point that you made earlier, you were saying about you can't actually kind of get your message across via text. And that is so true, right? One sentence, if you were to send that to 10 different people, I guarantee all 10 different people would take that in a different way, or they'll think you're saying that in a different way, right?
Depending on how their day's going, what mood they're in.
Exactly. And it, like, well, that is a perfect point within itself. It doesn't even have to be the message itself. It's also what mood is that person in? How are they actually going to receive that message in that current mood, right? Because I'm pretty sure if someone's having a bit of a bad day, stressful day, they're probably not going to take that message to the best. When actually, if you use voice notes and it's that nice kind of energetic, not just that single monotone, which sounds like kind of AI's reading. Do you know what I mean? That boring, hey, my name is so, and it's like, oh, it's painful to listen to. Actually, if you can be playful and creative with your voice, I do think there is kind of a massive opportunity to kind of get those conversations with those people. And like you said, it's that more personal touch. You've also had to kind of go out the way and spend a bit of time actually kind of creating that, because it's not something you can do on your laptop, right?
Yeah.
You've got to open up the phone app. You've got to record yourself. You've got to be actually comfortable with recording yourself, which one thing I struggled with core a year and a half, 2 years ago. I never used to want to record myself because I hated the sound of my voice. I feel like I sounded like a 12-year-old boy who hasn't hit puberty yet, right? You're a bit like, oh, I don't sound right. But actually that's just kind of yourself telling you, oh, I don't sound right, when actually it's kind of breaking that barrier. And I mean, look, we have conversations with people every day, and no one makes a comment about our voice. So why would it be any different in a video? My goal is definitely to test voice notes out, get creative with them, right, and really try and play on it. But yeah,
it's a really good point. It's so my process when sending voice notes is I'll get a group of people's LinkedIn profiles up that I'm wanting to send a voice note to. I'll have my phone, because within LinkedIn, as you mentioned, you can't do it on your laptop. It has to be via the LinkedIn mobile app. So I'll have a little look through the content that they've shared, perhaps that they've engaged with, try and find something in there. So you're doing that extra research to try and understand the individual that's going to receive the voice note a little bit better. And then, as you said, you're showing that you're investing a bit more time. You're not just copy and pasting a message. And I think it's been fairly well received so far. Even those that don't accept a call, they are a lot more, receptive. They're saying, oh, do you know what? Voice notes are my preferred channel. I really love the voice note, but now's not the right time, etc. So I think now's probably a good time for me to share some of the results that I've seen.
yeah.
So it's worth considering that my average meeting generation rate is 9%.
Yeah.
Now, following doing the voice notes, again, a disclaimer, it does take more time, and the LinkedIn app is a bit buggy. So sometimes you have to re-record because it's just glitched out and stopped working.
Yeah.
And we are let me just confirm, week 7 of the test this week.
Nice.
So my conversion rate is 10.1%. It's actually 10.009, but it's a 1 percentage point increase on the average. So that's one more call every week.
Yeah.
Across 3 weeks, because the conversion rate from that first call to a call progressing potential opportunity is 33. So across 3 weeks, that's potentially one new opportunity that I can then work. So it is a bit of a balancing act. Is that increase enough to justify the additional time spent?
Well, I think it depends, right? Because when you first of all said that's one call extra a week, right? Sounds great. Sounds great. I know a lot of people think, oh, it's only one call, but actually, it's when you give that data after, it's well, actually, across the 3 weeks, that's one extra opportunity. When actually, if you then times that with how many kind of, or divide that
Conversion rate from
for the year, just off the top of my head, you're probably looking at what? Kind of 14? 14?
new opportunities.
Yeah.
I tell you what, my maths is terrible, so I'm gonna get my phone out. So what? Let's say it's only 47 working weeks because
Oh, right. Yeah.
I
That's
took
also
holiday.
where I've probably tripped up.
So yeah, 15, just
So
over 15 new
close.
opportunities.
Quick maths, that. But no, when you look at it like that and you go, okay, 15 you said, right?
Yeah, just over 15.
15 extra opportunities a year. People would throw themselves at that, right?
Yeah,
And then actually, when you look at it, it's right, 15 opportunities extra a year. How many kind of taken then your average in how many you close or move forward? Then you look at that, add that onto what you're performing now. Actually, there is value in that,
yeah.
right?
I
There
mean,
really.
if we were to put a 25% close rate, that's just under 4 closed deals.
Yeah.
At the minute, the average is lower than 25%. So what is it? I think 19% last time, the last WDC, winning by design, sorry, research. So if we go, yeah, so it's three closed deals potentially off the back of it. So it does sort of, it's opened my eyes to it. Additionally, I'm noticing that when people, so there's a couple of things in there. I'm noticing a lot more people are viewing my profile. I'm getting a lot more frequent notifications of someone's viewed, X amount of people have viewed your profile. So I think it's, rather than, someone would just see a text message, a text-based LinkedIn DM come in. They're hearing it. They're going, oh, okay, let's take a look at his profile. And then people are a lot more receptive on the call when I first get on that call.
That was going to be my next question, right? Was well, actually two parts. First, they can actually now put a voice to that individual, right?
Yeah.
They know what they say. Oh, okay, yeah. I can start to actually paint a picture of who Jensen or Jordan is, right? Second is it would also be interesting to see out of those extra calls that you get, do those set calls, do more of them progress because it's a nicer experience? They've actually been able to hear you. If they're more receptive on that first call, there's obviously going to be a little bit more trust, a little bit more of a kind of a relationship built. So it'd be interesting to see actually, just by taking that route, does it actually also help increase the amount of opportunities that move forward, or the amount of conversations move forward?
It's a really good point, and it is something that I am monitoring. It's still quite early days, so I won't share data because it's, as I said, it's too early for it to be reliable, I think.
Yeah.
In terms of that progression piece, but I'm gonna keep one eye on those results. That update. I mean, when you consider that, what is the average conversion or appointment booking rate from cold calling? I think it's 1%. So a 1% uplift. It's that's sort of the way that I'm looking at it now in terms of the time investment. Perhaps previously I would have been doing a cold calling block. Well, now I'm doing a voice note block. and just keeping that time dedicated. You're on mute.
Sorry. And actually, what would be interesting would then well, not interesting actually. How do you feel compared to cold calling and feeling that rejection of no one picking up the phone, to actually creating a recording that, okay, it might not be answered, but at least you know it's been delivered and you haven't had that hard rejection of, well, I've called 100 people and no one's picked up.
Well, it's a really valid point. I think a lot of people, or a lot of leaders I speak to about cold calling, they always sort of say, well, no one leaves a voicemail. Well, what if they left a voicemail? I'd probably respond to it at the very least, because it's something different. It's sort of similar in those regards. But I am conscious of time.
Yeah.
We've just hit the mark. So Jensen, how many voice notes are you going to send this week? Have I convinced you?
Say that again, sorry.
Have I convinced you?
Yeah, do you know what you have? And actually, I love these Thursday morning calls because we actually get to kind of share ideas and what's working, what's not, what we've actually kind of all of us have found, me, you, and Alex. And actually, it opens your eyes and it makes you to be a little bit more open-minded, because we're all trying different things. And obviously, things work for what might work for me might not work for you, but actually it gives you an opportunity to try it. So yes, I am going to be doing voice notes. Yes, I'm going to be setting myself a task of sending 20 a day. That comes to 100 in the week. And then what would be good actually is for me to actually test it just like you are, because then what I can do is maybe in a couple of weeks we can then kind of compare our results in how we've actually kind of performed, right, in what's worked, what's not. And then actually would have a little bit more of a kind of wider range of results, right? Which would be awesome.
More reliable data.
Exactly that.
Love that. Brilliant. Well, thank you for joining me, Jensen, and thank you for anyone that is listening. We're not doing next week, taking a week off, but we'll see you in a fortnight.
Exactly that.